Fans of Alaskan Bush People are used to the Brown family's rough way of life and its ups and downs. But Noah Brown's most recent admission has shocked everyone. Noah gave an honest and surprising update about his wife. What he said is very different from the clean picture viewers are used to seeing. There's more to reality TV than what you see on TV. What is this revelation? Who is Noah Brown? The main thing I do when I go fishing is move really quickly. Because he was on the Discovery Channel reality show Alaskan Bush People, Noah Shannon Brown is well known to millions of people. Noah Brown was one of 7 children, so he spent a lot of his life in the public eye. He talked about how his family lived in a strange way. His path from being a young boy living off the grid in Alaska to becoming a TV star and creator was not easy. He came into the world on July 18, 1992. Noah was born into a family that would become one of the most famous in American history. William Bryan Brown and Amy Brown have 5 children. They chose to raise their kids in the wilds of Alaska, far from people and things that are common in modern life. Matt, Bam Bam, Bear, Gabe, Snowbird, and Rain Brown are brothers. For decades, they have lived in what they call a bush lifestyle. To stay alive, they used their skills and the things they had on hand. That's the only reason people were interested in their TV show. Most people would say that Noah's life was anything but normal. He and his brothers didn't go to regular schools. Instead, their parents taught them at home. Along with academic studies, they learned useful skills for survival. As part of their education, they learned how to hunt, fish, build shelters, and do anything else they needed to do to live in Alaska. Due to their remote location, the Brown family became very close with each other. They worked on many projects and went on many trips together. These early events in the Alaskan woods shaped Noah's childhood. In the end, it changed his adult life and the way he worked with Alaskan Bush People. Their hands-on way, which they learned while living in the wild for years, will be used instead. Noah's first experience with TV was with Alaskan Bush People. It first aired on the Discovery Channel in 2014. The show showed how hard it was for the Brown family every day as they tried to make a living in Alaska, far from all the comforts of modern life. Noah quickly became a fan favorite because he was interested in learning new things. He liked to come up with new ideas. Because of this part of his nature, he was interesting to watch on the show. Viewers have seen Noah change from a teenager to a young man over the course of the series. His appearances on the show have shown that he loves inventions and engineering, as he is often seen working on different mechanical projects. He spent most of his time making things for his family that would make their lives easy. These events showed that he could think of creative ways to solve real-world issues. Noah's time on TV made him seem like a thoughtful person who knew how to deal with tough scenarios. Noah was more quiet and thoughtful than some of his brothers who were more outgoing. At one point, fans of the show called him the genius because of the way he was. His contributions to the family's ability to stay alive often involved creative thought and mechanical skills. Noah has more to do in Alaskan Bush People than just being a family member on camera. Because he was good at technology, he was very helpful on many of the family's projects. Their attempts to stay alive had meaning because of his creative mind. During the series, he worked on a range of mechanical devices, from simple tools to more complicated machines. One of Noah's most important additions to the show is his creative problem-solving, which he uses when building structures, fixing gear, or coming up with new ways to hunt and fish. Noah always showed how good he was at building and coming up with new ideas. He built his personality around the intellectual challenges of living in the bush, showing people that you need more than just physical strength to survive. Noah made a big difference behind the scenes. He was the reluctant link between life in the wilderness, the old-fashioned way, and modern conveniences. Even though he made a difference, he was still plagued by the problems that his family had. And the ones he was in were controversial. Noah Brown became famous as a member of the wilderness family on the Discovery Channel show Alaskan Bush People. However, while he wasn't on camera, he got into a lot of trouble. The most important ones are the court battles his family got into and the fights they still have. The picture these events painted was very different from the good picture shown on TV. Questions about how real the show is have been raised, as well as major family problems involving restraining orders and drug claims. Because of these problems, their family became one of the most popular reality TV families on the Discovery Channel. Alaskan Bush People has been criticized many times for supposedly misleading its viewers, most notably by the Discovery Channel. A lot of what was shown was said to have been staged, faked, or carefully set up by the makers. The local press and former team members have repeatedly made shocking claims about how the show portrayed the Browns. They have said that scenes in the movie were faked to make them more dramatic. People in the area say they saw the Browns not living in the woods, but in hotels while the movie was being made. People who live nearby said they saw the family coming and going from Icy Strait Lodge late at night. A few people even said that each boy had his own room. It wasn't true that they were living alone in the desert as they pretended to be. It was very different from the show's main idea, which was about a family living completely off the grid. This made people wonder if Noah's wilderness image was real. Was any of it true? Or was he just trying to be a character who could come up with new ideas? The controversy got worse when Alaska State Police said that a dramatic scene from the show in which gunshots were heard near the family's home was not true. They said that no one with ties to the Alaskan Bush People had heard any shots. There is no sound that is quieter than a gunshot. People close to where the shot happened could not have not heard anything unless a silencer was used. In some way, this backed the idea that the series was made up. Because of these new details, many people aren't sure if Noah's creative projects and survival skills were real or just carefully staged for TV. Noah's family is involved in a lot of court problems that aren't just about whether or not the show is real. In 2015, Billy Brown, his wife Amy, and 4 of their children were charged with 60 counts of first-degree theft and lying under oath. This put the Brown family in a lot of legal trouble. The charges said that the Browns said they lived in Alaska from 2011 to 2013, but they didn't meet the standards for living there. All of the family's reputation was hurt by the scandal, even though Noah was not named in the charges. It made Brown's name dirty. Billy and Joshua Brown finally admitted that they lied on their applications for Alaska's permanent fund dividend because the court problems were so bad. Because of this story, their TV characters seemed like real Alaskans who lived off the land. It turned out that they had been caught lying about where they were staying. The most worrisome controversy surrounding Noah Brown may be his recent fights with his family, especially with his sister Rain. In August 2024, Noah and Rain, his wife, asked for Rain to be kept away from them, saying hurtful things about family problems that made me think they were true. Noah stated that Rain was abusing drugs and acting in a dangerous way. He told the judge that he filed the report because he was worried about the safety of his family. The court did not grant the protective order request, though. They didn't have enough detailed proof to back up what they said. The family fights kept getting worse and worse. In April 2025, Noah said some very bad things about his mother Amy and his sister Rain. Noah called the cops to make sure his mother and sister were okay. He said they were both high on meth and that his mother was getting worse because she was living with Rain. These claims were made just a few days before Rain was arrested on theft, malicious mischief, and criminal trespassing charges. She didn't look good in it. After Noah made his claims, Rain seemed to have done some strange things. Fans didn't just criticize Noah's family problems and show authenticity trouble. They also said bad things about his money and public image. By the end of 2023, Noah was getting a lot of bad feedback from people who thought he was lying about his money. Fans pointed out problems with his claims that he was broke when there was proof that he owned several properties, such as a house in Colorado, an island, and a tool shop. The lie he told about his finances hurt his credibility with the crowd even more. It was already bad enough that the family was being accused of theft. There were a lot of problems with the Brown family's public image and their real life that were made clear by the scandals. This made it seem like Noah's role as a struggling inventor in the woods might have been made up, just like other parts of the show. At first, I admired a family that lived off the grid, but then I started to doubt whether they were really committed to the way of life they supported. Scenes that were staged for TV, legal problems, family fights involving serious drug abuse allegations, and questions about their financial honesty made things hard for their viewers, and the show was finally canceled. The fact that Noah was involved in family arguments, especially when he accused his mother and sister of using drugs, showed that their family was not as united as they said it was. Most reality shows, especially ones with whole families, have debate going on all the time. Always there is the question of whether something is real. However, when these problems get so bad that they lead to multiple claims or court cases, they become more than just reality show chit-chat. People who are interested in Alaskan Bush People have been interested in Noah Brown's personal life, especially his relationships and family life. He may have grown up in the woods and been born into a family where being self-sufficient was very important, but his relationship was based on modern ideas. It is not clear what his relationship past is like, and there is not much online about his relationships. One did, however, get some attention, and it didn't end the way we thought it would. The most publicized and important connection for Noah Brown has been with Rain Alicia. She may not have known it at the time, but she married him and had his kids. In 2016, Noah met Rain while he and his family were with his mother, Amy, while she was getting care for cancer. During one of the hardest times for the Brown family, this meeting took place. Because Amy had a serious illness that could kill her, they had to briefly leave their life in the wilderness to get her medical help. Rain Alicia was born in the U.S. state of Oregon. She came from a very different family than Noah, who grew up alone. Noah grew up in the wilds of Alaska, with little to no touch with the outside world. Rain, on the other hand, came from a more normal American family. Before she met Noah, she lived a pretty quiet life. There is not a lot of information about her education, job, or family life. Before they started dating, no changes were made to the original sentence as it is love story. Even though they met in a strange way, love took Noah to a place where the views of his family didn't matter. At first, he sent her love letters and talked her into flying out to visit Browntown. It looked like a scene from a love story movie. Before she chose to meet him in person, they got to know each other better through these letters. Noah's letter-writing courtship showed that he was a careful, deliberate person who would do anything to show his love for his beloved. It was very different from how reckless he seemed on the show. After dating for 2 years, Noah and Rain got married in August 2018. Noah did a lot to make this happen. He was incredibly happy. He told her how excited he was about their wedding. Telling People magazine was born on February 26, 2019, not long after they got married. Noah changed in some way after Elijah was born. He was no longer the kid from the TV show about his family. He had a wife and a child now. It gave him more depth as a person. In October 2021, they had their second child. The family of 4 was now happy. Noah and Rain seemed to have found a good mix between their public life and their family time in the early years of their marriage. Rain seemed to have fit in well with her partner's way of life. She showed up on Alaskan Bush People from time to time, but she tried to keep her public life more private than her family members. They were making the life of their dreams, one in which both Noah and Rain could do the things they loved. Over the course of their relationship, Noah and Rain started to move away from Billy Brown's family life. They didn't notice right away. The couple lived in a way that was different from the way Noah had lived as a child in the desert. The Brown family had some problems because they had to change the way they normally lived. After he got married, no one thought he would turn his back on his family. It was clear that his goals had changed. Before, his brothers and parents were the first and most important people in his life when it came to making decisions. In the end, it turned into an opening song for Rain, his wife. The couple's choice to start their own home was a response to problems that many adult children in close-knit families face. In this case, Noah had to find a way to be true to his birth family while also taking care of his wife and kids. This tension grew over time. Trouble in Heaven. In a strange movie, stars Noah and Rain Brown broke up. In January 2025, the most important event in Noah Brown's personal life happened. After 6 years of marriage, Noah and Rain said they were splitting up. In a sad TikTok video, the pair broke the news to each other. Noah said, "We just wanted you to hear this from us instead of someone else. Rain and I have agreed that it is best for us to be apart." Noah had a hard time getting used to the split plan for a while. He was said to be doing well in the guest house his family owned while keeping in touch with his kids on a limited basis. "I can stop by if I message first to make sure it's okay if I see them," Noah said. Based on this setup, it looked like they were strictly co-parenting. It also showed that the breakup probably wasn't friendly. Details about the events that led to their breakup were not made public. The time they split up is especially important because it was not long after Noah's failed attempts to get protection orders against his sister Rain and his claims that people in his family were abusing drugs that he got divorced. These fights with his family may have put stress on his marriage. It makes sense, right? A lot of court trouble was going on around the Brown family. Going through the ups and downs of being close to them would take someone with a strong heart. It affected Noah's 2 young boys, Elijah and Adam, when they were split up. The boys had a hard time after their parents split up. The kids are always the ones who suffer the most during a breakup. How could someone explain that their forever family was breaking up for good? The couple probably chose to make the announcement of their split together to keep things polite for the sake of their kids. Noah went from being raised in the woods as a boy to being married and now being a separated co-parent. This shows that no stage of life lasts forever. It's not easy to keep ties going when you're in the public eye. It's even harder to deal with family problems when you're still in the public eye. The relationship he had with Raina Alicia ended in divorce, but it was his small attempt at making a normal family life after the strange way he was raised. One might wonder how his relationship with his ex-wife is now. They stay friendly because they care about their kids, and Noah doesn't try to make his ex look bad. In public, they may still accept and like each other, even if they used to be married to different people. Although his marriage may not have worked out, one thing in his life stayed the same: his family. Let's learn about the Brown family. The Brown family? You would meet some of the most interesting people on the Discovery family with the Brown family. They are Alaskan Bush People. People were fascinated by this family's supposedly off-grid life for more than 10 years. A lot of people paid attention to them, which meant that the rest of the world could look closely at them. From being unknown to being famous on TV, they've been through a lot, including moving, personal deaths, legal problems, and arguments about what was real and what wasn't on their show. Bill Brown is the main person in the Brown family. He was born in 1952 and died in 2021. He was known as the person who gave the idea for the show its start. Taking an unusual approach to family life and survival set the stage for the show and got people interested. Ami Brown, his wife, was born in 1963. She was the head of the family and, along with Billy, kept things in order. She fought lung cancer and beat it. The sickness, on the other hand, changed how things went for the family and the show. They had to leave the home they had been living in. Along with getting medical care, she and her family lived in a supposedly $2.7 million Beverly Hills mansion. This was one of the things that people pointed out when they said they were trying to like living in the country. In 2017, things were hard for the family because the cancer meant that big changes were coming if it killed their mother. Matt, Bam Bam, Bear, Gabe, Noah, Snowbird, and Rain were Amy and Billy's 7 children. As you might expect, each of them has their own style and quirks. Through the storyline of their reality show, it seemed like they grew up alone. They went to homeschool and learned how to stay alive. Each child did their part to keep the house running smoothly and added their own little drama to the show. Things ended for these people on the show, but they are now following their dreams. Matt Brown was born in '82. He's the oldest and helps the family in the woods. He took on leading roles in projects to build things and stay alive. He may have had some doubts because of the pressure and the attention from the media. He had problems with his mental health and drinking too much. Matt isn't close to the show or most of his family right now. He works on a farm in Loomis, Washington, to make ends meet and lives alone. It was said that he and his father had a disagreement, but they worked it out around the time that Billy got sick. Joshua Bam Bam Brown was born in 1984. He was the one who fixed family problems. He was the one the family called whenever something seemed to be wrong with a machine. He was usually in charge of the heavy building work and running the machines. Because he was so handy, he was essential to the family's building projects. He fell in love and married Allison Lagan. He has also taken a break from the show to become very interested in shooting. It's safe to say that he likes it that way because he hasn't been in the news since then. Solomon Bear Brown was born in '87. He became the most familiar character on the show because of how crazy and unpredictable he was and the crazy things he did. His attitude made him stand out and earned him his own group of fans. He became a fan favorite, so it makes sense that he got more screen time in most shows. He is now married to Raven Adams, and the two of them have 3 kids. He likes to call them his wolf pack. Gabriel Brown was born in 1989. It so happens that he is the calmest of the 7 siblings. He also looked like the person with the most heart. He had a soft heart and a good sense of music. He had a sense for art. It made the very physical parts of the fee show more balanced. His lover of a long time, Raquel Rose, married him. They have a girl named Sophia together. Gabe works in building and tries hard to support his family and stay out of the news. Noah Brown is the smart one. He is very smart and was often praised for his work on mechanical devices and engineering answers to problems that come up in the wild. Amorea Snowbird Brown comes right after him. She was born in 1994. The wild scene had a feminine touch because of her. It was important to her to be close to animals and enjoy nature. She was strong in a quiet way and helped the family get through each day. She is still following the family tradition, but now she is more interested in taking care of animals. They did even more clever things with their last child. Have a wonderful Christmas. Rain Brown was born in 2002. Because she was the youngest in the Brown family, she got to grow up in front of the camera. A big part of the show's plot was how she changed from a child to a young adult. Since she grew up on a movie set, she has always had an artistic mind. She gets farther away from the attention and fame as she ages. The Brown children are still alive and growing. Their lives show that success can sometimes be worse than good. In 2014, they started their trip on Alaskan Bush People. People were interested in the show when it first aired on the Discovery Channel. It offered viewers an honest look at a family living in the middle of nowhere in Alaska, relying only on their skills and creativity to get by. When the show first aired, there was a lot of interest in survivalist society and living off the grid. As the economy got worse and more people moved to cities, Americans found comfort in watching a family that had given up all modern pleasures. The Browns presented themselves as the best model of an independent American family. They built a home and went hunting for food. They went fishing and made things for fun. It wasn't as easy as it looked. For 14 years, there were 114 episodes of the show. It was over in 2022. The show became one of the most popular reality shows on the station during that time. Because the show was so famous, it got a few spin-offs and specials. The media and fans paid attention to them because of how well they did. Even though they liked the attention from the media, things started to get out of hand when it got too serious. The Brown family's claimed dedication to living in the Alaskan wilderness was put to the test when Amy was diagnosed with cancer and had to make big changes to their way of life. The new place they lived was only a short distance from the UCLA Medical Center. The house was bought to make Amy's cancer treatments easier. The claims got worse when they went from remote Alaskan cabins to high-class Beverly Hills. After Amy got better, her family moved to Washington State and settled on a 435-acre farm in the North Cascade Mountains. Even though they had to give up their Alaskan roots, which had made them famous on TV, this move let them keep shooting while staying closer to hospitals and other modern conveniences. They first saw lies instead of the media being ready to do anything for their mother. The story they saw did not match up with the reality they wanted for themselves. People in the Alaskan bush have always been skeptical about whether or not the Brown family's way of life is real. Some people said that their behavior, appearance, and living conditions were not always consistent, which led them to believe that their life in the woods was more staged than they said. It's said that the Brown family didn't live there and used it as a set. The Browns would sometimes sleep on the edges of Browntown when the show was shooting. When things were going well, they worked out of the Icy Strait Lodge, a close hotel in Hoona, Alaska. There were claims that it was a real reality TV show, but some people said it was staged or fake. The family was criticized for more than just acting. Some people even asked if they had ever really lived the isolated life they said they did. There was evidence that the Browns had access to modern conveniences and resources that went against their story of being self-sufficient. The family also had problems with the law. The jail time for Billy and Bam Bam was 30 days, because they lied about where they lived on an application for Alaskan Permanent Fund income payments. This legal problem made people doubt their claim to live in Alaska, which hurt their reputation even more. Even after the show ended, no one could forget about the Browns. They set a bar for reality TV, especially shows that were filmed outside in extreme weather that normal people couldn't handle. It wasn't all good with the Browns. The truth wasn't something they did very well. They were not a family that worked together. Some members stopped talking to each other for months during the rifts. Even so, it didn't change the fact that the Browns showed the world who they were in the best way they knew how. That's the most important thing. What do you think about Noah Brown's strange family? Drop your ideas in the box below. Follow this station to see more videos, and don't forget to like and share this one. Watch the other videos on your screen before you leave.